Beautiful mic.
Oh shit, that sounds fucking good.
Yeah.
Start again. Welcome to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cade, your guide. I'll be replacing the little voice inside you right for now. Giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say thank you first for listening or viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you're already, smash the like buttons for me. Subscribe to the channel. Join the kingdom. We have Nina Brennan on, CMO of Creative Brand Framework. An absolute beast. She specializes in taking business from like 2K a month, online businesses, 2K a month to 50K a month. They're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. And we're going to learn a shit ton of stuff about business, especially. I've got a lot of questions to ask her. I've already asked her a few of these questions. We've had a couple issues with like connections, but I think we're all set now. So we're just going to dive into it. We're going to dive with the most important question for me, which has changed mindset for me this for the past like 2 days when we first went on Wednesday and tried. And I had asked you about walking away from clients that don't particularly want to work with you that bad, or they don't see business the way you need them to in order for it to work. You know, you need to work with you who are competent in business to understand the idea of leverage, understand the idea of investing money into marketing or content or something. Some people just don't get it. And you're like, look, I can't work with you until you're at that same level. And just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, for sure. So the original question was like, what do you do when somebody comes to you and they don't really see the value that you're offering? And my answer to you was basically forget them. There's a whole pool out there of people that like understand who you are, what you offer, and understand your message and connect with who you are and that you can deliver to. So this is the importance. I think we got into the 7-hour rule the other day of having people understand who you are and what you offer before they get on the phone with you, so you don't waste their time or your time, especially as you're scaling and growing an online business and raising your perceived value in a marketplace. And we were talking about before the 3 pieces of business that really it takes to scale. And it's the marketing aspect, the sales aspect, and the client delivery aspect. And there's a pass off. So think about it like a football. There's a pass off process in between each, but they're all intertwined and they're all connected. But the answer to your original question, like there's more than enough people out there that's going to resonate with who you are, what you have to say, and how you actually conduct yourself online. And those are the people that you want to work with.
Yeah. And that totally changed the way, because that was something I had known and I've heard that before. I must have forgotten it or just kind of like went out of my scope of perspective or something, because I was starting to focus on those people, because I was getting a lot of those people in NFTs, specifically in Web3, which is where I work. There's a lot of people who have projects and businesses, but they're not business people in the slightest. And so they're like, well, like that's a lot of money for this. I'm like, well, you don't really understand like what you're paying for, I don't think, or like what you're getting out of it, or why it's valuable. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to construct a better ad or explain myself better. But then I had other people who I was saying the exact same thing to, and they're on board within 10 seconds. And I was like, oh, that was easy. Like maybe my approach was good. And I was starting to like get confused. Basically, I was like, what do I focus on? And then I looked at all the comments on these sales videos. People were like, this is the worst sales tactic ever. This is so scummy. And I was like, shit, like, is this scummy? And I was starting to doubt myself. And so that's when I was like, all right, we're bringing on a fucking expert. We're bringing on someone who's literally not even just an expert, but someone who's actually practicing this in her own business and has built these things. And it's very much so relevant to my world, because I'm diving into the online business world. And so I was like, this is a perfect case study almost. We can kind of go into some of the things I've done the past 9 months, the things I'm working on now, and get your perspective on things and be like, yo, don't do this. This is a terrible idea for these reasons specifically. So so that was like our first question there. Like, do you prod, do you push, or you just like let them off? And so the next question was that funnel where you were like, get them to the point, by the time they talk to you, they're pretty much interested. You just got to close the deal at that point. What does that funnel look like? Is it an intro video that you send them? Is it a website you send them to? Or what's that funnel look like?
Yeah, 100%. So first and foremost, there's a difference between where you are at like a 2K grind and where you're trying to scale beyond like 10 and 15K. And then there's even a different one when you're going between like 20K and 50K. And if in the foundational level, if people are watching this and they're looking to launch an online program, you have to prove product market fit, number one. So there's product market fit, and then there's resonance of your message and the clients that you're working with. And those are the 2 things that you're looking for in that initial, like, I guess, 10K grind. It's what's this offer, and is this the offer I want to scale with? So the first thing you have to do in order for that, it's like you have to be in front of your clients as much as you can. So from initial contact point of that outer funnel awareness to the phone call, there are different things that in every single stage you have to do. And this is like that, that pass off from like the marketing to the sales. It's that 7-hour rule that I mentioned before. It's send emails, send high value video, send out your mission statement. And like we do it in a 3 email sequence, but we have a whole CRM system dialed in. But at this point, we're making above 50K per month. So it's like, what can you do in the very foundational level? It's get people on the phone and then just like confirm the call and maybe send them to like a case studies page or a high value video that you have. Send them to your Facebook community where you're going live. And that's where it's like, okay, you want to build community for this reason, because that's where you're going to deliver to your clients. So that initial 10K grind, you're still finding that product market fit. Get people inside of the community, get people on the phone, start texting them and communicating with them, but not to the point where it's like annoying. Provide the value that they're looking for. It's the first foundational level.
Yeah, that's so interesting for me, because when I got into the NFT world and I started to accidentally build an online business, literally by accident. I just was making YouTube videos, had like 900 followers, and then a random NFT person reached out and said, hey, we like your reviews. We like how it's not a promotion. We'll pay you. And I said, oh my God. And so I did that. And I said, wow, that was really cool. And then like another project reached out and I was like, oh, wait. And so then I became that guy and I started building that repertoire, building the reputation, and like, you know, continuing that brand and continue to build that and do as many of those as possible. Even once I did not paid, I did a ton of reviews that were unpaid. I have almost 100 reviews now. So I've kind of like established myself in that sense. But I always thought that this is Web3. I can do business differently. But then when I started to set up the framework around it, I said, oh, wait, hold on. No, it's not. This is just business. This is not any different than a Web 2 versus Web 3. I mean, there's a little bit of different culture side maybe, but the framework around business, you still have to send them to a Discord or Facebook community, get them involved there, offer different things, and offer, different ways of value. Building content around your business is huge, which I would definitely want to go into with you. And I assume that I'll edit this in after, but I'll bring up your TikTok page. You're huge on TikTok. You're crushing it there with like 20 or 30,000 followers there. And you put out all your content for free, which is what Gary Vee says to do. He says, put all your content out there for free. People will still pay you because they're going to want to work with you because the value you bring. Is there a point where that becomes too much, where you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't give this out for free on a live stream? Like, what's the difference between a live stream on TikTok versus one in your Facebook community where people are paying?
Yeah, so this is actually a very interesting question, because I feel like my clients asked this question yesterday and I literally said, you can never give away too much information, period. Like, we literally give our entire business away to our clients, and it's like, most people, for number one, they're not going to take action. Number two, people will always pay for organized information. So I could give all my information. If I tell you right now where to go to hire a virtual assistant, how to train a virtual assistant, how to actually develop an SOP, or for anyone listening, a standard operating procedure, I could literally give you the entire formula that we use. You're not going to do it because you're probably not there inside of the business yet, but it's high value.
Yeah, I know. You literally told me like 6 months ago, we had the same podcast we were doing. We have a volume 1 podcast from a long time ago. And she told me after the podcast, here's the exact website to go to. Here's how you do it. Get a virtual assistant right now. And I said, okay. And I never did it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm sorry to put you on blast. But I guess that's like the right reasoning. It's like, I will 100% always just seek to provide as much value as I can, because for number one, like, I just want to see people get results. I think there's enough abundance in the universe for everybody. Like, take my business, there's enough results for everybody. But the thing is like, people come in, for one, they already know who you are. They know what kind of value that you provide. It doesn't matter the price. And again, part of the marketing is part of the sales. They're all intertwined. The more you provide up front, and I think Alex Hormozy said this, and this is my dude, the more you give away, like, it should always be give, and then take, because the more you give, the bigger the ask.
Shit. Whoa. Yeah, no, Alex Hormozy is the king. I think he's putting out so much consistent content out there. He's going on a lot of podcasts, just getting free information. But like, I think what he's doing, even to make it more concise, is like, he's just building his IP. He's just building his brand around Alex Hormozy. So people say, okay, who's the salesperson? Alex Hormozy. He's the best. He's the best. He's the expert. He's what people to go to. The people who can't afford him are going to try their best to afford him. And I think that's what it is. Like, if you're the person, like right now, I've been talking to a content creator friend, and they were upset that they weren't getting more money. They weren't getting paid for what they're offering. And I'm getting paid for what I'm offering. But I was like, the difference between me and you, I was like, I built my IP first for 9 months. Like, I built that brand and I became that person. So now when people say, well, who's the review person? We want an in-depth analysis for an audit, basically, for a project. Everyone refers them to me because I've done all of them. And it's that IP that I built that took 9 months. And, you know, probably 3/4 of my reviews weren't paid. They were all just videos that I did because I knew it would help my brand. And now it's in a position where I have leverage when I get into a business situation where I'm like, no, like you're paying for all the things, not just my video, all the videos that I've done in the past, all the camera equipment I invested in, like all my investment goes into that one thing. And the right people will pay you the right coin for that, basically. But I think you're right, just putting out all that content for free. The universe is very abundant. It's like so ridiculously abundant that it's painful, you know, and it sucks that a lot of people are too scared to put themselves out there. And I don't know, it's just like stuck in the past a little bit. But going back to the thing about virtual assistant, my issue with that was it sounded so easy, but I just don't trust them. I think that was my big thing. I was like, I just don't have the mental strength to be like, no, a virtual assistant could do what I do. What's your answer there? And then how do you begin automation? And then when do you begin it? Like, how quickly does automation go in? Is it before you're even making money? Like, how quickly do you begin the automation process?
Yeah. So the thing is no one will ever be able to do what you do, period. Like, so for one, it's the passion behind everything you do. It's the attention to detail that you're going to put into your child, your baby that you're growing. And you have to have that release of control, which is like, it's hard and it's scary. And I'm even in this pivotal business right now. We hired a salesperson and I trust her. We're onboarding another salesperson. We just hired another appointment setter. And it's trusting the fact that it will still work out. And there will always be that dipping phase and then coming back in. But that's why it's so important to develop SOPs first and then have like in the beginning, especially having daily check-ins and then weekly check-ins. And then like over time, it will, maybe you have an every 2-week check-in with your team and things like that. But making sure that you're doing it first and writing down detail by detail what needs to be done. And this is essential for every single role. This is not just virtual assistants. Like, this is exactly what IT should be doing, but they understand because they have a higher level of business. This is exactly what an appointment setter should be doing, but, you know, just do it better than we're telling you to do it, or, you know, you're going to probably lose your job. And that's just how it is. It's like the virtual assistant, especially if you're going to onlinejobs.ph. If you are doing that, you shouldn't expect more than what you're giving them, because you're paying them $3 to $4 an hour, maybe even $2 to $3 an hour. And like, the best way to make them do their job efficiently is 1, providing everything step by step, and 2, getting them bought into the company culture and then treating them like they're, you know, since they are real people. A lot of people just like, this is what I get so upset about in the online business space. Just because you're paying someone a wage that's good for their country doesn't mean that they're less than, like, you know, somebody who's in the United States. And that's how we treat our employees, the way that we would treat American employees. And that's why they're so loyal, and that's why they work really hard, and that's why they're bought into the company culture. And that's how you have to treat everybody in your company, from top all the way down.
That's super good advice. Because I think that was my worry. Is well, I mean, I didn't really take into account that like paying $3 an hour for them is the equivalent of whatever it would be here for like a minimum. Like, that's enough money for them, I guess. Or it's like, it felt weird to me. But also, relinquishing that power and trusting that they can actually pull it off. But also, for me, I was trying to figure out what automation was right for me. I was like, so for example, for a lot of companies, if you're not bringing in clients, if the clients aren't coming in, then like, where's the automation come from? You know, like for me, I have no shortage really of people randomly emailing me and sending me DMs, usually trying to get a price point. Like, hey, like, what do you think this would cost? Like, what can you offer here? And so for me, I was like, man, a virtual assistant for me would be perfect just to give them the details up front. Here's what you can offer. And if you're ready to move forward with this, then let's move on to the next step. But if you're not getting in people like that, what is the automation you can set up, or is it not time?
So this is actually interesting, because this is what we leverage our virtual assistants for. We don't have an influx of inbound. We have an influx of inbound top of funnel awareness. So people will like my content. And this is why the whole vanity metrics doesn't matter. People will like my content. They'll comment on my content. Maybe people will even follow me, but no one really takes action, because I don't drive people to like schedule a call always or come into my Facebook community. I just want to provide value and build that, again, know, like, and trust factor on the outer funnel awareness, because a cold lead is not going to, you know, convert into a high ticket client. Especially if you see my TikTok, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to hand this girl thousands of dollars. Of course not.
True.
So what happens is our virtual assistant has templates that they actually go in, they follow the like 3 videos, comments on a video. Oh, I sent you a DM, and they send out a DM that's personalized based on the account, but there's a template. And that's all our virtual assistants do, is they just run outbound all day. And that's how we scaled our business.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is good. I feel like that these kind of almost basic, they're probably literally common sense to you. You're like, oh, obvious, like this is clearly the next step here. But I think when you're, especially for first business people who've never actually launched their own business, these kind of questions are things that you wouldn't really know until you're actively in there complaining about stuff. You're like, wow, why isn't this shit easier? And that's my next question. Like, how easy is it to build a business? How hard? Because everyone, like Graham Stephan, like, it's almost annoying how matter of factly he puts this. He's like, here's all the side hustles, you know, like flip houses or like flip couches, do this, get a garage sales, like whatever. And then like the last one was like, for every time he makes that video, it's always like, just start a business. And I heard Iman made a video. This is the time you need cash flow. Just start a business that brings you cash. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, starting a business, having an idea that's actually helpful to people and solving a problem sounds a lot harder than it is, because for so long I struggled to find what is that for me. Now I found this. Now it's like relatively easy to get the ball rolling there. But for a lot of people, that was the issue too. And for me, for so long, was what is the business though? So how hard is that whole process?
I'm going to be quite frank, and I think this will be relevant for anybody watching this. It's easy. Anyone can make money online, and it's very easy to make money online. It's very difficult to launch a business and scale a business. Period. And this is the thing. It's like, for one, you have to have the grind and the grit. And like, I'm not going to lie, like we scaled this business. Brad and I met, my business partner and I met a year ago. We went live the first time, I think June 25th. We're coming up on that 1 year of like, we met and we understand like this is going to be a thing, but we didn't launch until what? Mid-July was our first cohort, and our first launch of Creative Brand Framework was in September 15th. Building a business is not easy, because it's a lot of iteration. It's a lot of up and down. And until you are the person, there's a lot of quantum physics that go into it. Like, you'll never be able to scale past a certain level that you already are. You have to reiterate, and like this version of self is going to have to die and reiterate over and over again. And I know I'm getting pretty deep here, but again, like anyone can make money online. Anyone could sell something online, but you're never going to be able to scale a business, let alone like, especially in the coaching world. I'll speak solely in the coaching world. Deliver and handle everything that comes with it until you really like, one, put 2 feet in and make it your mission and vision in life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I started my YouTube business with my review videos that are all commission based, that was relatively easy because we were such an inflated market that everyone was just rushing to get exposure. And I was the person handing out the shovels, essentially, like with the gold miners kind of thing. So that was kind of my business. It was just so easy. And so like the business just came naturally. But when you're starting that business, it still is hard though. Like it's still hard to do that. Like in general, it's just, I don't know. It's difficult, especially if you don't have a business minded, business savvy. If you don't know some of these things, if you don't watch business content, I watched a lot of business content. So I feel like a lot of the things I did came natural just because I've watched all these online business people just yell in my mouth for like 9 months. But one thing that was interesting, who was it? Some dude who's blowing up on TikTok. I see him fucking, this bald dude from Romania, Cade, his name, he's everywhere. So I heard about this funnel system that he's got, where it's like a pyramid scheme style business where you get into this, and if you get more people in, you get money. Like that's why everyone's like pushing his content out. But the one thing he said was that it's not impressive that he's got these numbers. He's got like 100,000 people or something in his community. He's like, it's the fact that they're returning every month. And I thought that was interesting, because I was like, how and why are they returning to his? But also, how do you get people to return other than value? Because people can still be getting value, and then also be like, yeah, but like it costs $1,200 a month to be in their community. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. I feel like we could just do it. Like, how do you actually keep those people coming back month after month after month?
Client delivery. And this is the thing. So we don't have a month over month, like you don't pay month. Like it's an upfront cost, or it's like a set cost. And once you're done paying, you're done paying. And then we have a 2-level program where it's like invite only to that next like jump. And I'm not going to disclose the price, but it's a high ticket, and then it's like a quite high ticket. Yeah. And we've had people come through the door, and 2 ways of doing this. One, as I said before, there's 3 pillars of business. There's marketing, there's the sales process, and then there's client delivery and client success. Client success is showing up to clients, and as you massively over deliver on the front end, right? Like we were talking about the 7-hour rule and delivering free value and delivering free content. when people come through the door, that doesn't end. And this is where a lot of people in the online space fail. It's like they put all of their efforts into the marketing and they lack delivery. Over delivery and congruency from start to finish into that upsell of a ticket or that long term is just always provide value, but always give more than you said that you were going to give. Especially like in our online program, we do course, we do coaching, we do community. It's beautiful. We do coaching 4 times a week and everything. And like our clients get results. It's great. But we listen to our clients. And this is something that a lot of people don't do. Feedback loops inside of business is what's going to build your business. Clients will tell you what extra things they need. Listen to the questions that they're coming to you with. Take everything. It's still market research. It's just at a different phase of business and implement that into your business. Our clients were very overwhelmed when they were coming in because there was a lot of information. And we were like, oh, great. We'll just do an onboarding call and we'll do an hour, assess where you are. And then we'll do a check-in call in like 4 weeks from now. Oh, and then we'll do an outro call because those one-on-one touch points, just it's massive over delivery. So
yes, that's a good point. For us, we're building out the framework for the second business, which is mainly surrounding around Web3 content, which, creating content and helping people create content is not a new business model at all. However, it's very, very new for the Web3 space. In fact, there's not a single company doing it right now, which is shocking to me. But I noticed I identified it because my first business, when I was doing all of my reviews, every single time it was basically like, okay, well, what can they work on? Well, they have no content and they don't know how to make content. The content they made is painfully bad. And so I said, oh, well, this is like what I do. Like I know exactly what that content looks like. And I know exactly what, I have case studies where projects do it and I like it. And then they go up in price 3 months later because the work they put in, and then their community shows for it. And so I said, okay, well, we can start this business. And so the idea, because I hated the commission style. So I was like, okay, well, we can do a three deal package. So you can either do the 1 month where you don't get that much benefit and it's more probably for the people who just want to try it out, see if it's worth it. The 2 month where you get a little bit more benefits and you get more money back for what you actually pay for. And then the 3 month, I made it jam packed with shit. Plus, like they get the free video on my channel, the free podcast on my channel, which is that's how my first business is made. So they get that basically for free. And so they get all this shit, but the goal there is for them to be stuck in my business for 3 months, for them to be stuck in my funnel and be like, okay, now we're here. We paid him. We're stuck here for 3 months. And then by the end, I'm like, okay, I want him for 6 more months. Like that's the goal. So I want them to be locked in with me for 3 months. So that was my process there. And it just offers as much value as possible, help grow in every single way possible. And yeah, I just said, have that intro call where you get them on board, say, okay, here's where you're at. Here's what we gotta be. Here's what we need to do to get there, and make sure they're like well aware of what needs to happen. But what was my question? I was going somewhere with that. Oh yeah. So when you're earning all those online clients, especially, I'm gonna assume that like 90% of your clients probably come online, and like the majority of your stuff happens online. Like, I don't know how often you get people in person who come up to you and you get those people, but does that change at all? Like the way you market and do sales and close in person versus online?
I have never met a client in person ever.
Holy shit, no way.
Yeah. We have over 100 clients and like we just the only person, so I met my IT guy. So our entire company is online. Everyone is remote. Everything, it's great. Our IT guy, I met him a month ago for the first time. So it's like, and it's streamlined. Everything is just beautifully streamlined and everything is just a system. And that's the thing. It's like, I am super close with all of my, well, not all of them, but most of them. I made friends with the people that like we're done working with, and like, I've never met them. And it's beautiful because it is just like, you understand the online world. That's just how it is. But
yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because I this is more Web3 NFTs focused, but a lot of people got used to speaking like they do in a Discord / public forum where you just kind of go in, you say some bullshit, and you pop out, or you react to something. Like I feel like people are getting very much used to speaking like text, and the text culture has even changed. Like TikTok is changing the game entirely. Like the comment section is its own subculture now, and so people are trying to leave the funniest comment, but they're always the same. Like it's like the same style of comment, like bro did this with a skull emoji, and like they always are the top comment. And so people are changing the way they talk. But I noticed in real life, I've met some of these people, completely different vibe, not even remotely close, way more awkward usually. I'm good with people, I've worked with people my whole life, so it's not any different for me. But I found a lot of them, like it's a totally different switch in like how they are as a person. And I thought, I don't know, that was really interesting to me. And I didn't know like how much work you did with real people or like in real life, because all of us are doing shit online. Like don't know when else like we go online. Like for you, if you're doing this full time, are you spending time out talking to people about business? Like what are your non-business calls? Non-business time even look like that? What does that look like?
I'm not gonna lie, it took a while to actually learn like how to be a human again, but I'm not going to lie. A lot of my circle are people that are inside of business, and like there's like three big pillars of there. You can break everything down into a system, and like life is really just a system. There's health, there's wealth, and there's relationship.
Yeah.
And like relationships, you got to develop them in different ways, but like I really like to align with people that have the very similar core values and vision as me. And I love everybody that doesn't, like, that's in my life, that doesn't have that drive and that ambition to be like wherever I'm going in life. I understand everyone's on their own path, but I like to align myself with people outside of work realistically, that one, like, oh, yesterday I went out with somebody that I met in Denver. We went for a walk, and then the whole time we were talking about like marketing. And I was like, oh, I really didn't want to make this about business, but he brought it up. And I was just like, but that's the thing. It's like the alignments and energies will always just find you. And like anything that doesn't resonate, I just don't talk. Like it's kind of wild, but creature of habit. Like I'm very habitual with everything that I do. The people that are in my life are very habitual with everything that they do. So it's, that's it. It's just wild.
Yeah. No, it's also funny how much you said this earlier, how much everything is sales basically. And I read a book or maybe an article, and they were basically talking about everything you're always doing. And it's always been like this, not just because of the digital world we live in. You're always constantly selling yourself. Every time you meet a new girl or guy, you're setting yourself up to be as sick as possible for them to be like, wow, that girl or guy was so cool. I want to be more like them. I want to talk to them more. And dates is the same way. So we're basically always selling ourselves, and the way we market ourselves and promote ourselves and our brand and stuff is basically everything. And so I guess for me, one thing that's interesting, the very specific thing that you said earlier was the difference in marketing and sales. You said they diverge at a certain point. Where and what is that divergence?
Okay, so it's really just marketing and sales are intertwined, but there are two different buckets to it. So if you think about the buyer's journey, okay, I love the fact that you brought up dating. I could actually bring in an analogy that's very similar and how very, I'll get there. But think about it like this. There's outer funnel awareness, which is like TikTok, your podcast, like people just, they know your face, but they don't really know who you are. So maybe you're scrolling and they're like, this guy seems interesting. He's got cool tattoos, long hair, and he has those cool glasses on. They're going to watch your content. That's still that initial awareness phase. Then there's like that interest phase of just like, all right, like maybe they give you a follow, but they don't really watch your content all the time. They're still just like getting to know who you are. And then there's like that consideration phase where maybe they enter your community. Maybe they join your Discord. They're kind of like dipping the toe in the water of like, all right, I know who you are. And then there's that decision phase. But the thing is, especially in the online coaching space, the handoff really enters when people schedule a call with you. So it's like the first process is like DMing or getting people into your community. And this is why community is so important no matter what business you have. I know that your world is very heavily based in the Discord world. My world is heavily based on Facebook, just like an older generation, it feels like, even though you and I think are the same age.
Yeah, probably similar. Wait, how old are you? I'm 23, almost 24.
I'm 26.
26.
Yeah. So the thing is like, once people enter that community on Facebook, you're still in that heavy lead nurturing phase, but they didn't make the decision of whether or not you're the right doctor for them to go to, or you're the right boyfriend or girlfriend to close on. It doesn't matter. Once they enter that, I'm going to schedule a call because they understand who you are and what you deliver. That's the handoff of the sales process. So once they schedule the call, and everything from that first touch point of call scheduled, for one, we qualify everybody with a questionnaire, and it gets like zapped into a Slack channel. We assess whether or not they're a good fit. After they hit that with that Zapier integration, they get 3 emails leading up with high value videos. And this is where the 7-hour rule content begins. And this is like really just a step-by-step story of basically how we're selling them. That's what we're teaching them. So you get like 7 high quality videos of like, the initial touch point is like our 17-step framework of copywriting. It's like a 30-minute video of how to craft a story inside of a business with a high value video that's like, here's a case study and testimonial, boom, proof of concept. So high value proof of concept. Not only do they get that, which is like more of a lead nurture on the back end, you also get that front end text message, which is automated from our CRM system, but it's from our IT guy, Jonathan, that says, hey, thanks for scheduling a call with Creative Brand Framework. Just wanted to let you know we actually sent you over an email. Would love for you to check it out.
Mhm.
That's like that front end of like, first you're getting in front, then you're getting behind. Then 22 minutes after they schedule a call, they get hit with a ringless voice drop. So it's like a voice, and what are they called? Ringless voicemail. That's it.
Oh,
So it's like from my co-founder, Brad. Hey, this is Brad Schildkraut from Creative Brand Framework. Just want to say I saw your call come through. Can't wait to connect. We did send over an email to you about XYZ. So it's like, but we don't do anything. We don't touch anything. Then 2 days later, they get another high value video inside of their email. And it's like high value video, proof of concept. And we make them at this point in our game, because we've been like at a scaling phase, it's a requirement for you to watch.
okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So like they get to see the 7 hours of content that we're sending out. And the second one is like the sales framework that we use. The third one is talking about the 7-hour rule. So it's like very high value, in-depth business stuff. So when people get on the call, this is all the sales process of like, who are we? What do we do? What kind of value do we provide? What's that outcome you're going to get if you end up on the call? And then the call is really just a diagnosis of who they are. And we frame it like I always frame the sales call of like, listen, this is just a conversation. I will never make a pitch unless I know that you're an absolutely great fit for our program and that our core values align, because that's my biggest thing. It's like radical transparency and massive over delivery, and me assuring that you're going to do that for your clients, because I don't want a bad name through our clients.
Yeah.
But that's the sales process. And then even after the sales process, if they don't close on the phone call, it's the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. So it's like, what do you do after? From like, for one, if you don't close, always get somebody back on the phone. And like, what are you doing in between? So that's like the sales process. The handoff is like when they initially schedule the call, and all the automations in between. So my bad for ranting. I'm very passionate about it.
Do you remember where you were going with the dating analogy too?
Oh yeah, the dating analogy.
Yeah.
So this is like the buyer's journey. So if you think about the buyer's journey again, it's like a funnel, right? So I guess the end goal for anyone dating, at least myself, with intentional dating, of like, I will only date someone for marriage. I'll never be like, oh, let's just go on a date and like last for 6 months and like whatever, there's no outcome. Like, going with the intention, man. But this is how I see it. Dating analogy, here's like boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage, whatever. Top, like up here, I'm not gonna go on a date and be like, marry me. Like, or I'm not gonna be like, I'm your wife. Like, you don't do that. But the first one, it's like, for one, I would never pitch even like being with anyone. There's no expectation on this outer funnel awareness. I'll never even have a call to action to a second date. It's just like, hey, like, I'm just me, like, you're just you, like, we're just getting to know each other.
Yeah.
If it's good, maybe you'll ask me on the second date. That's that like interest phase of like, all right, this girl's cool, or this guy's cool. We'll go, like, this is the interest phase. Now you're in the interest phase. You're still getting to know each other. You got probably about a month here of like, all right, getting to know each other. And like, if you asked me out in that first month, it's like, that's a lot. Like, me. You're not going to push them into the consideration phase, but you're going to like take that extra step. Maybe you'll go on like maybe you'll meet the friends, maybe you'll like spend a little bit more time together and push them down, but you're not going to be like, be my wife. Like, it's, and that's the thing. It's just like, it's the same exact thing as dating. It's the same exact thing inside of business. It's the same exact thing for even a friend. Like, you can't just go from 0 to 100 and expect them to not be creeped out.
Yeah.
Same thing inside of business. You can't go from like, hey, I'm on TikTok, be my client and give me thousands of dollars. Like, it's the same thing, because it's a marriage. So that's my dating analogy when it comes to it. Usually go more in depth, but we'll stop there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's actually really important, because I've done that. I've made that mistake. I feel like everyone in business, even if they don't want to admit it, have made that mistake where you try to close too early. You try to jump from, I don't know, first base to home base in one step, where you should have taken way more time. There's no reason to rush it. And that's one thing that I've actually changed a lot when I have like those initial exposure calls, when they just like, hey, like, I have some interest in this service or whatever. Can we jump on a call? I'm like, absolutely. And it used to be very much like, okay, like, as soon as possible, when can we close this? That was just my thinking, which worked in a bull market because everyone just wanted that. They just were like, give me the video as fast as possible. And I said, okay. But in a lower market, I was like, okay, I need to take my time here. Plus, there's been multiple calls where we ended up not working together. And I found out there's actually a better opportunity for us to connect as a relationship rather than a client service type deal. And now like one of them was a game developer. And I was like, actually, it'd be good to know a game developer. This guy's super cool. I really like him. And I don't actually know if he doesn't really need this video from me, but let's stay connected. And I've actually made like multiple connections that way, which is really interesting. But since we were in that dating world question, and I actually think I love the idea of analogies and going to storytelling way, which you're also amazing at on TikTok. And I think that's why so many people like you versus 100 million other salespeople. And I think that's the reason you guys are doing so well too. With the dating world, have you noticed that when you go on actual real dates, are you thinking analytical? Are you like a business mind 24/7? Are you able to flip flop at all? Or is it all just one mesh ball of
I am who I am. No.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, I'm not going to lie. I don't really date. Like, this is a very odd question. I don't really date. I went through a major breakup about a year and a couple months ago, and I really stepped into intention of healing myself and finding value within myself. And in that period, I did the 75 hard, and then I ended up moving to Mexico and launching a business. And I'm fine. And I wasn't settled. I was always like moving and moving and moving. And I don't believe in just like dating to like fill time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll go out and like, but there's never an expectation. And also like there's like a lot that goes into it with my mind and stuff like that. But I don't like exchanging energy with people that's like,
It's half and half? Not sure.
yeah, there's no
Yeah,
point to it. So it's like I'm finally stepping back into the world of like dating and understanding people, but I really know what I want now. So it's just like I am analytical, but I do know how to like turn things off, but I'll never rush into anything because it's like I think that people in this day and age, especially, they're so quick to like go into an exchange with the what's in it for me mentality, where it's like I just want to get to know somebody for who they are, and I want somebody to get to know me for who I am before like anything else, and that's what I look for. So I guess that's it. It's like I do approach it from like I guess a Robert Greene standpoint of like who are you as a real person rather than like what's in it for me, because like I'll never go in with an expectation because it leads to disappointment. And I guess that's the analytical way, but
yeah.
I'm just vibing.
I was wondering what your thoughts would be there, because as I've gotten into more of a business route and entrepreneurial route with YouTube especially, my mindset as toward everything has changed dramatically, like not even remotely close. I remember my last real relationship was almost like 3 years ago or something, which is when I broke up. When I remember in like 2018 when I broke up, I was like, I think the longest I've been single since like my first relationship in high school was probably like a year. I'm like, okay, like about every year you find someone new and like it works out. And then 3 years passed by really quick, but like the amount of differences in the way I look at dates and approach dates too has very much changed. Like there's no exactly like you said, there's no intention when you go in. You're just trying to see like what their vibe is, like what they're kind of about, if they even match with you at all. And a lot of times they fucking don't. Like I don't think the entrepreneurial business savvy style of person is that common. I found at least in the days I've been on, which is tough sometimes, but it's just very different. You think about things differently, and it's a totally different like mindset as toward attacking everything, because business people like look at relationships differently, especially when they're in the relationship. And I've noticed people like Alex Hormozy, Layla Hormozy, those people, they're like, it's like a different breed of person, but it works. Like it works for them. Yeah. And so I think that works in all aspects with client work too, to match up well and to go in without any intention. But like, I feel like once you, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but I was just interested in that question for you, because that's where my mindset was going. And I was just, because you've been in this world for longer than I've been and you're actually doing it. And there's not a lot of people I know who are actually doing that. I was just literally wondering what that was like for you. But yeah, I mean, I think dating in this world right now, especially in 2022, everyone's digital. I don't even know how people meet each other in real life. Like literally, I don't know where they go. I'm like, where, like, who are these people at these bars? I'm like, unless you're coming with like a group of friends and you guys are already just going for fun. I'm like, where do these people come from? Like have you seen on TikTok Live, people, there's TikTok Lives of behind the bar. And it's just like, I guess they set a phone up there and it's just like the club. And you just like see like 100 people there. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all doing right now? And it's like 2 a.m. I'm like sitting there in my bed, like fucking Microsoft Excel pulled up my computer or something. It's just like an entirely different thing. So yeah, I was I don't even know where I was going with that. But anyways, to bring it back to a little bit more business focused. So with storytelling, that's where originally where we were at. With storytelling, what's the proper way to construct a more of a storytelling marketing style versus when you bridge into like more of an ad? Like I've run both. I've run the TikTok ads with a marketing style video, but then I've also run a TikTok ad with like a very much like that was a sales video. Like someone looked at it and like, this is an advertisement or commercial. Is that even necessary? Like, do I even need to be doing commercial style TikTok ads like that? Or is that pretty much unnecessary at this point?
I mean, it really depends on the audience. This is the thing about, there's different kinds of copywriting, and realistically speaking, at the end of the day, everything is copywriting inside of business, from the ads that you're running, the TikToks you're making, even this right here, whatever kind of pieces that you pull out of it, straight into like the next thing. But the thing is like, whether it's an ad of you being direct and saying, this is an ad and this is what I'm trying to sell to you, or if it's like a storytelling type of thing, realistically speaking, it's just the congruency from top of funnel all the way to what the outcome is.
Yeah.
So it's, if you're running an ad and you're like, by the way, I'm trying to sell you on XYZ, maybe you should click the link below. The link below has to be congruent to that first thing. So if it's like, hey, like I'm going to be telling you to us like the 3 prongs to what it takes to actually scale a coaching business online, the next page, damn sure the headline should connect that.
Oh yeah.
3 prongs to business. And then this should be the delivery. Say it's a video, like you're doing webinar style or just a 15-minute video. 15-minute video call to action of like, this will be the most valuable 20-minute phone call of your life. Schedule a call below. The call to action will be schedule call here. The next page will be the call page. And then it's like, here's the thank you page with all of like the client success videos based on like, you know, them coming into the program. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what style you put out in the very forefront, as long as it's like, if it's storytelling, make sure the story is congruent. If it's ads, make sure the delivery is congruent. Like, and that's what people miss in the whole marketing side of business, or even just the sales side, or just copywriting in general. And this is why I love copywriting. I love the fact that I come from a copywriting background. It's like,
it's so good.
So beautiful, but it's really just permission to give your clients to take action and then delivering, and then for them to give permission to actually continue going.
Yeah.
And it's just, the congruency is the most important factor from literally top of funnel awareness, whether it's an ad or a TikTok campaign or just a TikTok, into the next step.
Yeah. So. Okay. Tell me about copywriting. I didn't know you came from a background in copywriting. That's a very interesting topic, because before I got into YouTube, that was the meta, people say about that was like the thing that everyone was talking about on YouTube. I remember all the business people were saying, learn copywriting. It was like all these ads of these 22-year-old guys on yachts. They're just like, I can work anywhere, just working my phone. All I do is copywriting, just learn copyright. And I was like, that sounds like horse shit. And so I was like, all right, so my question is, what even is copyright? How do you actually become a copywriter? And is it as lucrative? And is that just a dream they're selling that 0.001% of people can actually get? Or is it realistically, this is a good place to go into?
I mean, it's a great place to go into, but this is the thing. It's like a lot of people destroyed what copywriting is because they actually don't. It's not just words. Words are art, realistically speaking, at the end of the day. And it's really a science as well. Yeah. And there's the art of words, the science of words, the persuasion of words, and the beauty of them all together. And the thing is like, how can you articulate to a client base as a collective? And the goal is like always with whatever message, you reverse engineer it. So if you have an outcome of you want somebody to schedule a call to close, right? They have to understand what they're going to get if they are to work with you. So I'll break it down like this. There's the buyer's journey, understanding the buyer's journey. There is the client base right here. Then there's I wish people could actually, this is a podcast, so maybe I should break it down a little bit. Yeah, sorry. I'm looking at this. Okay, so there's the buyer's journey, as we were talking about before. There's the awareness stage, the interest phase, the consideration phase, and the decision phase. Then there's your client audience base. So like, realistically speaking, you do have like one audience base, but you have different client avatars inside of the audience base. So your stage of the buyer's journey must connect with one person, one client avatar, but all of your messaging should connect to a specific outcome. So if you think about it in a flow chart form, there's like 4 things in the beginning, which is the buyer's journey. Maybe you have 2 client avatars. Congruency is connecting the outcome to the client avatar, connecting the client avatar to the phase that they're in. So like say the call to action, which is the in-between, there's the construct of the copy, it's like headline or the hook, as most people will put it. Then there's the body, and then there's the call to action. If you're speaking to somebody who's at the awareness phase and you want them to learn more about you, maybe it's like, hey, if you want to learn more about XYZ, join my Facebook community so you can achieve outcome here. If you're talking to somebody who already knows you, like on this podcast, it's like the call to action is going to be great, schedule a call, but it's like hook, body, call to action based on the client avatar that you're speaking to, based on what section in the journey they're in. So it's really just a beautiful funnel inside of a funnel.
We love the fucking word funnel, guys. The funnel's our favorite word.
But the thing is, it's like people don't even understand everything inside of business is a funnel, and everything inside of business is a system. And realistically speaking, to scale a business, it's just system stacking. And I don't know, even copywriting, the way that we break it down, we have a lot of analytical people inside of our community. You have to break it down into a system because, again, copywriting, and yes, I'm going on a tangent here, but
I love the tangents. keep bringing them.
You can make a lot of money as a copywriter, but this is why a lot of copywriters get a bad name, because they don't understand what it actually means to be a copywriter. It's not just throwing an email out. It's like connect an email to a point, have an outcome in mind, and reverse engineer the email. Make sure you're speaking to one specific person. You want to be an email copywriter? Great. You have to do a full assessment of the business you're working for. Oh, you want to be anyone could be a content writer. And there's a difference between a content writer of people that just write blogs for a living and someone who's a copywriter, because a copywriter is the foundation of marketing. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No, that's really, I think the tangents are where all the best moments are. Like you don't even need to make a sick comment or a sick clip right there, but the tangents are the best. So go on as many tangents you want. At what point when you're starting a business, if you're, I don't know, anywhere from 2 months to 6 months in, is that the point where you're wearing all the hats, or do you believe that it's time to scale as soon as possible to automate? Do you need the business experience? Like if someone has no experience in business and is 3 months in, versus someone who started 2 businesses but they're 3 months in, but if they don't have a lot of capital, is it time to do everything themselves, or is it time to scale anyway?
I'm a firm believer that you're broke until a millionaire. So everything that you're making, like, yeah, you want enough to put a roof over your head, and you want enough to put food on the table. I'm a very big component of you are what you eat. So eat healthy and spend on food and invest in food.
I agree.
But realistically speaking, like the reason that we were able to scale so quickly is because everything that we make, we hired coaches. We spent over $70,000 on coaches in the past year, like Brad and I collectively as like a partnership. And the thing is like, you need to reinvest. And that's, so many people don't understand that it's like, you're starting from scratch. The first $10,000 that you make online, especially in the coaching space, and I'll only speak really for the coaching space because that is what I know and that's what I like specialize in.
Yeah.
It's the grind of proving product market fit. So it's grind phase of getting inside the DMs, producing the content, seeing what's sticking with the kind of clients that you want to work with, see if your message is resonating and you're actually able to deliver on the message that you're saying that you're delivering on.
Right.
And once you prove it, then it's time to start putting in, like, we have clients that are making $25,000 a month and they're literally like, oh, I got to pull back. And there is going to be a dipping phase. So think about it like an S, like it goes up and then you have to dip a little so you can systematize and relaunch it another. Like if you want to scale, you have to put things in place in automations, whether it's hiring a virtual assistant or putting automations like emails that we were talking about before. Anyone who's listening to this, like go back to the sales process. The 7-hour rule works of like getting a CRM system, even just Calendly. It works as a CRM system of sending out 1 reminders, 2 confirmations, and 3 like emails.
Yeah.
That right there is enough. So it's like, that's a time where it's like the first scale phase, proving, systematizing the little things. And this is why it's so important to understand what the mundane things you do on a daily basis are, like follow-up emails or emails to check in, like confirmation emails, or sending out like, hey, thanks for scheduling a call. Make sure you check this out beforehand. That all has to be automated because that's you buying back your time, even if it's a free software. So after that initial 10K, it's like automate, systematize what's already working, or you have to reiterate and find an offer that you want to scale with. Yeah.
And it's you're not even buying back your time. You're literally buying your brand. Even like when you send that follow-up email, nobody sends follow-up emails. Nobody, not a single person sends them. So if you are that person saying, hey, thanks, by the way, thanks for the call, or even just like a quick like glad to talk. Like that is unheard of in this space. That doesn't happen. So it does really help your brand. They're like, oh, Cade and Nina, like they're beasts. They're doing extra stuff out here. So that's also really helpful. This is a question I had that Alex and Layla brought up that I had 2 seconds ago. Don't tell me I forgot it. At what point Alex is a big believer in find your thing that's pretty good, that's kind of working, and make that work. Make that work over 25, 50 years versus the idea of starting 9 different businesses and stopping every year. What is your idea on that? Like, when is the time to call it quits if it's not working as well? Is that the time to step on the pedal? Is that when you reassess, like, hey, is this even necessary? Like, what is that move? If you guys spread into that after a year?
Yeah, so we're still babies in this space. Like, yeah, we have scaled a business, but we're very foundational scale, right? Like, we made multiple 6 figures. I'm very grateful for where we are, but there's still that like ego check of like, stop, you're still new. Right. But the thing is like, when you hit a certain point in business, you got to just do more of what works. And that's the thing. It's like business gets boring after a while because it's like, it's just doing more of what works and making sure that it doesn't break. But if you think of what the word scaling means, that's what scaling is. It's doing more of what works. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, what they do is they don't get to a point of consistency before they pivot because of shiny object syndrome. And this is where discipline really gets in. Like, everything is discipline at the end of the day. And it's like, I love working with my clients. I love the coaching. There's a lot of aspects of business that like are painful to get through, but you got to do it. And it's really just doing the shit that you don't want to do so you can continue doing the things that you do want to do. And like, yeah, of course, like I want to invest in real estate, but maybe it's not my season of life right this second.
This is exactly where I'm at right now. I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like that's the answer. It's like the easiest cash flow once you got the upfront capital, but it might not be the best time. That's super interesting you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like seasons of life. And most people are so quick to get to the next season. They don't water the grass during the season that they have. So like everything just dies. And I'm a firm believer. I don't know what Alex and Layla say about this, but they're always, in my mind, a lot of times they're right. I wouldn't say always, because not everyone's always right. But the thing is like so many people fail at business because they fail to do the things you have to do in order to scale. So there's a difference between building and launching a business and actually being consistent and scaling a business. And that's like what we're seeing right now. It's like, of course, I'm doing things that I don't want to do. Of course, Brad's doing things that he doesn't want to do. But if we do them and then we automate them or we delegate correctly, it's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, 100%. And that is doing the shit that you don't want to do so that you can have what you fucking want, which most people aren't willing to do it. And the exact thing of the shiny, I feel like shiny object syndrome is almost like a silent killer. Like you don't even realize you're spreading yourself too thin. Like for me, I stuck with the reviews, even though the views dipped and the commissions dipped multiple times during my time, during my like 9 months. Someone asked me unspoken voice how long, about 9 months, 10 months or so. But during that time, there's been multiple waves of where it's just I'm getting too many clients where I'm like, okay, I need to say no a couple times. And then some weeks where I'm like, Jesus Christ, someone hire me, you know? And so it's just how it is. But I never switched over. Like the entire point of my channel was to bring a different aspect. Like everyone was doing promotional content. Everyone was making buy these, buy these, buy these. Mine was totally different. And I could have switched over and probably seen X amount of extra growth during that time. But I feel like in my situation, it would have tarnished everything I was trying to build long-term. And now it pays off 9 months later. I'm like, thank God I didn't go in a different direction because now I'm the only person in my space basically who's able to offer what I do. I don't have to pivot my content now that the market has changed. I don't have to pivot everything. I don't have to lose my job and go get a bartending job where I'm not be able to pay rent kind of thing. And so it's a very different thing. What have you guys changed since you guys said you launched in September, right?
Yeah.
What have you changed since October? First month in, first few clients, what has changed since then?
Okay. Well, actually, we launched our first iteration of business back in July 18th. Shout out to
Shout out.
We did a 4-week cohort. So it was like a $97 cohort to just deliver of like how to get your first case study and testimonial as a coach. And in that time period, it was beautiful. One of our clients actually made $7,500. And she like, what is that? 80 times her ROI? Like, it was wild. We were just like, wow, we weren't expecting that, but all right. Like proof of concept that 1 week will work together and 2 that we can deliver. That was in a 4-week time period, one-on-ones, like not one-on-one, group coaching once a week. And then we launched our course and our coaching. So in September, we launched our first iteration of our course, which was, I'm not going to lie, like it was like the brand foundation sections, a mindset section, scaling 1.0. So it's like how to set up funnels and stuff like that, but very foundational funnels. Like realistically speaking, most people will not scale to the funnel system that we have now. It's a very deep funnel and probably people don't even understand what that means. So I won't even go into it, but it's just like setting up your Calendly, setting up your Facebook community, setting up your call, and setting up like the email sequencing that goes into it. That was like the first iteration. And we did coaching calls twice a week, and it was just me and Brad. That was it.
Yeah.
Like two 26-year-olds just launching.
This sounds like me and Bryce, what it's going to be when we launch this. This is literally exactly what it's going to be like. Okay, sorry, continue.
No, just wait. So then like fast forward October, we got declined under our belt and we actually raised the price. So it went from $2,000 to $3,000. And we were like, all right, okay. Like people are paying, like we're proving, and we have more case studies and testimonials. Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. It's like the more case studies and testimonials, the more feedback we're getting from clients. Like from that cohort, we actually converted like 33%. So like we had like longevity of people like, all right, like you started here, this is where we are now. What else can we do for you? So they were our clients that were like giving us the feedback, and we were building based on that client feedback, which is, sell before you create, Tim Ferriss style. Yeah. That's exactly what we did. And then come fast forward to November. Actually, fast forward to like October, we hired a virtual assistant almost immediately because both of us were doing things that we like, the mundane things that were like, all right, outbound messaging, we're trying to figure it out. Let's get somebody on it so we could do bulk outbound. We were also trying to figure out the emails that work after a call that does not close. We were also doing a 2-call close because at the time, Brad and I were very new to the space. People didn't know that we worked together. So it was like, here's Nina or here's Brad on the first discovery call, get into our community, see what we're doing. And then here's Nina or Brad on the second call. So you get to know both coaches, both co-founders. Now we do a 1-call close. Like that's it. That's like now. Since then, we've actually tripled our price. At this point, we work with a different client base, really. Like at first we were working with a lot of affiliate marketers, helping them launch their first coaching business online. Now, like I get emotional thinking about it. I love my business so much, clearly. Like we have a kick-ass community of over 100 people across 10 different markets. We work with real estate professionals. We work with doctors. We work with lawyers. We work with brand coaches. We work with Airbnb coaches. We work with TikTok coaches, like content creators that are literally just helping people make content. Like the framework works. And now we started with like 7 hours inside of our course. Now we have over 16 hours inside of our course. We have 4 coaching calls per week for client delivery. And we have a kick-ass community of over 100. And then we have, I think, 7 people all together on our team. So wow. Yeah, it's been beautiful.
That's so fucking crazy. And when you guys launched in July, what was your projection for 1 year? Did you have any plans like that? Where like, here's where we should be probably, or no? Or you kind of just like see what happens?
There was a very ignorant of like, we're going to make 100K by December. And like,
okay.
I knew it wasn't realistic in a sense of like, all right, like if we do scale at that rate, we're not going to be able to deliver. So like at a realistic pace, we were like, all right, we're going to do 100K revenue in like April. And like when we started like projecting that, like when we met in June last year, we were just like, we didn't know each other in person. We met on TikTok, and it was just like, all right, I met this guy on TikTok. Oh, by the way, I'm moving in with this guy in Mexico. Like, I know it's a crazy story. And like looking back, like, I'm sorry, Mom, for really putting you through it. I'm not going to lie. But at that point, I was just in survival mode of like, all right, I'm giving up security of my own business as a copywriter done for you. And like, I'm just going to full send it. So I was still getting through up for one. There was like that pain threshold of getting on camera. And I did not know how to be on camera last year. Like
that's where I'm going next. Cause I definitely want to talk about this too.
Yeah. Like that learning curve of like, it was painful. Of like learning how to get on camera. I was like a little squirrel. It took me like 8 hours to produce 1 hour of content with a lot of edits. Yeah. Jeez. Like it was that bad. It was that bad. So like filming the first round of the course was horrendous for my mind. So looking forward, it was just like, I didn't think the confidence level was going to be. I've changed tremendously as a person in the last year. And it was just rapid, just like putting myself in that uncomfort and trusting the unknown and stepping into the uncertainty. But after meeting Brad and knowing him, we realized both of us that we can work together and we balance each other out very well. And I think it's the radical transparency that we have amongst each other that vibrates inside of our team, that vibrates inside of our community. And that's how we knew it was like, all right, this is going to work. And like, it just has worked out, and we blindly trust each other and blindly trust the process. And like, it's working.
Yeah. The blind trust is something I've gotten very used to by force and on choice anymore. Like, when I start to doubt everything, like I literally the other day, I started to doubt I was literally like, I don't think I can do this entire thing. The whole entire thing, I think I can't do it anymore. And so I was like hanging for a couple hours, and I got a phone call, went on a walk, and I was fine. So it's just those feelings bubbling over, but just trusting that it's gonna work out. Like there was a period where I went like 4 weeks without a single style of commission or any kind of work, and I literally was like, oh, it's over for me. But then like I just had faith, I just kept doing my thing, kept connecting with people, kept doing nothing changed. And then I got like 6 people in 1 week, and I was like, okay, fine. And then like it happened again, like it's literally over and over and over. Like you just have to believe in that process, and like usually stuff works out, or even if it doesn't, it works out because you have to pivot. Like even if it doesn't work out this way, you have to pivot and go this way, and then something else happens, and leads to something else. So the only way to like lose, Steve Harvey said this on like a super viral TikTok the other day, is the only way you lose is by putting down the game and literally stop it. Otherwise, the game continues. There's no losing or winning, you just continue. And so that was interesting for me. And with your content side, I would I want to know, do you now like making content, or do you still not like picking up the camera, you just do it because you have to, kind of thing?
Okay, it's definitely seasonal. Like as I said, there's like different seasons of life. I'm not going to lie, the past 4 months have been chaotic. I actually stepped out of it with the whole shift into intention and taking my time back. The past 3.5, 4 months, I was just slamming phone calls, slamming onboarding calls, slamming coaching calls, slamming lives, like nonstop, pouring and pouring. And like I was pouring into my own, but I was very heavy in my masculine energy. So I was like just doing. I was in that state of doing all the time. So creating content was like, oh, I hate this. Like I'm gonna do it because like I love providing value. And when I had to always step into the shift of like, okay, we're about to provide value, not the whole, oh, I'm gonna create content. And I think like shifting into that mindset and like just getting it done and doing it, it was fine. I would never really say that I'm not a content creator. I don't necessarily love being a content monkey and things like that, but I create content to create value. And like we're doing a big shift right now. Like I'll actually be launching my own podcast and having a YouTube channel and things like that. Yes. Like
let's go.
Yeah. So that's like the next phase of business, and like the short form content. Like we hired a video editor, so it made our lives a lot easier. But the thing is like, I don't want to be on TikTok for the long term. I'm not a huge fan. I use social media for a purpose. Again, everything with intention, like going things with intention, and like social media should be used for the outcome that we're trying to deliver. And I think right now it's the season of life that I still have to be on TikTok, but going forward, it's going to be longer form content that's cut down into broken pieces. And like, again, as you scale in business, as people scale in business, they'll understand how deep funnels truly get with like retargeting ads and tracking and things like that. And that's like the shift that we're getting into. And you're damn sure. Of course, I love creating content. The more value I'll be able to provide, the more lives I'll be able to change. Like that's what it's all about. And if I think of it in that mindset, like I just got excited about creating content. Whereas like, if I'm like, oh, I just got to go on TikTok to create TikToks, like I'm not a content creator.
Yeah. That's just a similar style of answer that is with me. For me, I love the content side. I think it's like from as a kid, I think it's just I didn't get any attention from anybody. So I like the idea, like when the camera's on, like the attention's on you. So I think that's the aspect that I still fuck with. And so I love being on camera. Like anytime the camera can be on rolling, like I love it. Like, let's go. And so for me, like it just makes sense for me to do content. And so leading into those strengths that you have, like you have a strength of copywriting, and into structures and stuff. Probably some of it's built and some of it's natural. But leading into that, like for me, organization structure, my God, it's just oh my God, like so bad. Like I just can't, I literally like my brain just shuts off. And I remember like back in middle school, it was like that too. My math teacher, Miss Bellabom, would just get so frustrated. Like I needed an extra help. She's like, Cade, this is the most simple shit literally ever. Just like, here's the problem. This is clearly the next step. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I could not have told you that. And you would put me in there with 100 different problems I would mess with every time. But as soon as she gave me that first one, I could finish the problem. Like I could always finish the problem. No issues there. And so I think that was just like one thing I struggled with. And so I didn't know if I was supposed to put more emphasis on that or if I should just lean into my other side, which is like content, which just comes natural to me. And for me, I think it's like a little bit of both, but definitely for me, more I've leaned into the content side, what I'm really good at. So I've been almost able to like offset the fact that I suck at everything else with the fact that I'm really good on camera. And like I'm able to have conversations with people where they're like, look, we potentially want to bring you on as like a face of like one of the faces of our company where you just like do your filming part. And I was like, that would be like a dream. I saw a TikTok, they're like, what would you do tomorrow if you were getting paid passive income, $10,000 a month? What would you be doing tomorrow? My answer was literally the exact same as I'm doing right now. I'd still be filming content, going on streams 3-4 times a week. And that's just like my strength there. But what are your thoughts on that? Is leaning to your strengths versus, you know, tightening up your weaknesses?
I think there's definitely you have to have an awareness of both, but I think that you should really just lean into your strengths. But a lot of times you gotta fix your weaknesses if you want to scale a business. And I don't think that they're weaknesses. I think they're just underdeveloped parts.
Yeah.
And then like there's the 3 tiers. There's your strengths, there's your underdeveloped parts, and then there's your weaknesses. And I remember last year, getting back to the whole like getting on video and filming a course. I was really good working one-on-one with people. I was really good at delivering live. But when it came to like delivering without having like just teaching, I've never been put in that situation before. Like anytime I was teaching anything, like I was a soccer coach, I was a TA. So there was always someone receiving on the other side in college, right? So I never had to just like sit down and teach no one on the other side. And one of my clients I was actually talking to back and forth, he's like, maybe it's just not your strength. Maybe you should just let Brad do it. And I'm like, no, like this is our business and he doesn't know the things that I know. The reason we partnered is because he understands this side of business. I understand this. And like the collective unit is what's going to get that client delivery. So I just sat down and did it until I was okay at it. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like I have to redo part of the course because like who that was, I don't even know who that was. I don't even recognize her. Whereas like now it's like, of course I'll just go on there and speak. Like I don't even need a slideshow. So I really do think it's about developing certain parts of self. And like, until you're put in certain situations, you're not going to be able to challenge yourself. And it's all about growth. And it's not using weaknesses as an excuse to not do something. It's how can you flip that and be like, how can I develop this side of myself as leverage and turn it into a strength? So I'm a firm believer that like, yeah, of course I got weaknesses. I'm not going to be like egotistical and be like, I'm great at everything. Like, of course I have weaknesses, but I believe that no matter what situation you put me in, I'm going to figure it out. And because I approach it from that mindset, because fear base it, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah. And that's how I approach everything. It's like, okay, the worst case scenario, I suck. Okay, I could get better. Yeah. The best case scenario, it's a skill that I thought I was weak at. And then like, now I'm good at it. And that's the thing. It's like, that's how you should approach life, is like the what if mentality, whether it's a weakness or a strength, stepping into a fear-based mindset of like, what's the worst case scenario that can happen? No, I'm not going to lie, at this stage in business, nothing embarrasses me. Like, I went 36 calls in a row, no close. And that humbled my ass real quick. I'm not kidding. And then like, now I'm really good at sales. Why? Because I had to get put through that hell. And that's the thing. It's like, business is really just about, I think Jordan Peterson says this, and I always talk about this in the poetry that I write, and I'm on a rant again, and I'm sorry, but not really. It's all about shedding that past version of self that you think you are. If you think this current iteration of self is going to be able to scale to $1 million business, think again. And I'm same here. Like I'm going through a very shedding process right now. I'm really leaning into my heart center for some reason. I don't know why, but life will tell me. The version of you at this point, about 90% of it has to die if you want to step into that next realm. And everything about business is energy. Like I could get into the whole quantum physics side of things, but I know that we got to wrap this up soon. But weaknesses is that current self and situation. it's not that next version of self and situation. And if you're willing to use it as an excuse, you're going to fail as a business owner, not you, it's like in general, lean in and see why you suck at it. And it's probably just because you're judging yourself. All right. No one else is judging you. If you're providing value, people are just, you could be weird. You could like, whatever, be yourself and just provide value. And like everything else will just fall into place, whether it's strength or weakness, like just do it.
That's a fucking great way to put it, actually. Yeah. And yeah, we do have to wrap this up in a second, but for people who did get a lot of, there's shit ton of business value here. I'm gonna have to rewatch this too, so I can still remember everything that she has told us. But we'll definitely bring you on, or maybe I'll come on your podcast or something, and we'll talk about other things, because I know that there's a whole entire, how you said, quantum physics and like philosophy route that we could also go, that we also have a lot of interests and commonalities in. So I definitely want to bring you on and talk about that side, because this was definitely heavy business focus, and we still didn't even get, I'm sure I think there's like half a whole list of bullet points that we didn't even get to, because this, I think like this topic could just be like almost like a monthly show. We could talk about all these things. There's just so many different areas to hit on. And the rants are like where all the best information is. Like the rants, like the little things when I'm consuming content from other podcasters, it's like every time they have a sound bit, like that's usually not even where I get the most value. It's when they're randomly telling a story and it sparks something in my head from 10 years ago. I'm like, and then I'm like, oh my God. And then I just apply that, like on the call earlier yesterday or 2 days ago when you said the thing about just walk away from those clients. That literally was just like a mic drop. And you just literally went about your day. I didn't even say anything. You didn't say anything after that. You probably forgot, didn't even know that had changed like my entire outlook on business. I literally called Bryce the next day and said, get on the phone with me. And we like went, like typed up all this shit. And it was just crazy for me. So there's like so much content, or so much value in the long form podcast. I'm so excited you're going to do a podcast. That's going to be legendary. What is it going to be about? Is it going to be the same stuff that you do on TikTok, just long form with your friends, or just you?
So there's two ways that I'm going about it right now. I haven't really figured out the minor details, because I do a live podcast every single week with Bergman called Women in Entrepreneurship. I want to do a pivot where I'm doing interviews with other people, because we do have such a wide client base. Like I said before, we work with doctors, we work with lawyers, like all walks of life. It's so beautiful. And I want to do an interview series of like different aspects of business and taking like what it takes to scale different kinds of businesses. Yeah. So I'm still doing finite details, but it will always be value-based, always be outcome driven and things like that, because that's exactly what I'm here to do, is just how can you guys get the most results? How can I give away all the secrets? Because really there is abundance in the universe, but there'll be definitely quantum physics and energy. Like I'm already speaking into the universe. Like I will do a TED talk on masculine, feminine energy and how it vibrates across every single part of life, business, life, relationships. Like it's done in my mind. It's going to happen.
I believe it. I'm fucking ready. I've said the same thing. I'm manifestation and verbalizing it, putting it to words makes it very much so real. Every single thing I've ever done has been manifested years, usually, like literally years before. And I don't know how it works. It just does. It's just that energy put out. So anyways, everyone, thanks for being here. This is an epic fucking podcast. My camera just like had a heart attack. I don't even know what's going on with it. There's so many issues with it. But thanks again for coming on. We'll definitely bring you on again. And fuck yeah, that was amazing. We can find her also. All her links are going to be down below in the description. So yeah, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I do appreciate so much.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, so make sure you leave a like in this video. Thanks for being here. Subscribe to the channel for more NFT business, Web3 content, stuff like that. And yeah, until next time, continue to enjoy, continue to learn. You're for your life. Watch this video.